Happy Holidays. In this video, Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen will discuss the season of Christmas, a special time of the year that brings with it goodwill towards each other.
Christmas time, the winter solstice, New Year's, the winter holidays, a time of year that we all look forward to, that has such poignant feelings and memories. One of the most interesting approaches to Christmas is the Dear Santa Claus letter written by Virginia O'Hanlon when she was 8 years old, and it defined her entire life. Yes, Virginia, as the famous letter published in the New York Times over a century ago read, there is a Santa Claus. For the next 50 years, when she was 8 years old, the letter about Santa Claus came up every Christmas. The message is that Santa Claus arrives each winter to brighten the cold and the dark, and rekindling the spirits of humor, hope, love, and joy within each of us when we most need them in the winter of our lives. Father Time didn't always appear as a rotund figure dressed in cheerful red, though. At one time, he didn't run a toy shop in the North Pole staffed by elves. The beloved patron of Yuletide and the Christmas season has evolved over the centuries from deeper roots. His actual origin is really undefinable. It's lost in the distant mists of time. Santa is a hybrid. He is descended from St. Nicholas, and his elven companions and flying sleigh may have been inspired by the Nordic deity Odin. Perhaps his 8 reindeers are tamer versions of Keranos, a Celtic stag god, whose personifies the forces of masculinity. The ancient winter festival of Saturnalia hints that today's kindly Santa is actually a stern Saturn in disguise, bringing a warning about the consequences of not being nice. Saturnalia was presided over by the Lord of Misrule in medieval times. This is a vaguely Santa-like jester figure, and the Lord of Misrule would bring humor during the cold, dark snow in Yuletide's long pass. Today's Santa Claus, chuckling the popular greeting, Merry Christmas, has emerged from the writings of Washington Irving, Thomas Pintard, and Clement Clark Moore, the author of The Night Before Christmas. The illustrator Thomas Nast was the first to portray our modern Santa during the 1800s. Saturn has appeared year-round in Coca-Cola ads since the 1930s. The soft drink company was seeking a way to boost its sales during the slow winter season of the Great Depression. And a gifted and imaginative artist, Haddon Sandlam, drew upon ancient familiar images of Santa, and from the Saturday Evening Post, as well as Frances Hodgson Burnett's best-selling Christmas book, St. Nicholas, the magic work. With Santa as a spokesperson, the year-round sales of Coca-Cola skyrocketed, much like a magic sleigh going upward on Christmas Eve. Like church bells, Santa's sleigh bells are related to a traditional belief that sounds will drive away evil forces while simultaneously calling out to the angelic realms for care and attention. The bells remain as noisemakers through Christmas Eve to eliminate any bad situations and any demons lingering from the year about to leave. Appreciation of friends, ourselves, and a promise of warmer times to come are Santa's most precious gift of all. However, Santa has a deeper and more complex story than that. We have St. Nicholas versus Krampus, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Santa Claus and the Old Nick, a switch and a lump of coal on St. Nick's Eve. By the early 20th century, that joke had mostly become just a joke. There wasn't a threat anymore, and on December 5th or 6th, that's St. Nicholas's or Krampus's night, Nicholas would visit, children were told. If they'd been good all year, then gifts of candies, nuts, and fruit might be found in the morning, perhaps in their stockings or shoes, to sort of presage nicer gifts to come at Christmas. But the baddies, the naughty ones, could expect a switch and a lump of coal instead. No one was ever left out, though, and no one ever really got a lump of coal, not really, but it was almost unheard of for the good Saint Nick, visualized as a jolly old elf, to disappoint anyone. He foreshadowed the arrival of Santa Claus a few weeks' time hence on Christmas Eve. Saint Nick's visit piqued the excitement and anticipation of Christmas, promising larger presents and better times to come. As the 1990s faded into the early 21st century, a change began to sweep over the annual winter solstice celebrations, though. A yearning for a darker holiday emerged. Perhaps it indicated a need to offset an excess of sweetness and light. Perhaps there was a secret resentment building as children became increasingly entitled, spoiled, and dissatisfied. Santarnarchy was born. The phenomena appeared in 1994 on the West Coast in United States cities such as Portland, Oregon, and San Francisco, California. A huge flash mob of costumed and sinister Santa Clauses would invade shopping malls and public parks. In early December, the mysterious clan would come together to frighten and puzzle the unsuspecting public. The Santarnarchy craze has spread to Korea, Norway, Ireland, and other countries. It's actually not new, though. It's a revival of a more ancient seasonal tradition. Smoldering in the dark crevices, remember that coal, deep in the fireplace, behind the merrily burning Yule log, and within the branches of the Christmas trees, hidden by the ornaments and lights in the coal, lurks the spirit of Krampus, also known as Old Nick or the Devil. Krampus is the evil twin who shadows the benevolent St. Nicholas. He has been here, waiting and watching for a very long time. While kindly Santa appreciates cookies and hot chocolate, Krampus prefers schnapps or some other strong liquor. Hairy and beast-like, Krampus is black or brown in color, with a long, lolling tongue, horns, and cloven hooves. He carries a bundle of birch twigs or a whip in one claw-like hand, and dramatically rings a bell or thrashes rusty chains in the other hand. Sometimes he's an elegant and sinister gentleman clothed all in black. Like Santa Claus, Krampus carries a large sack over one shoulder, but it isn't filled with toys. His is to carry away bad children for drowning or transportation to his den, where he could be burning them in that coal fire. Throughout history, the legend of Krampus really predates St. Nicholas. About 4,000 years ago, the Epic of Gilgamesh introduced Enkidu, literature's first wild beast man. By the 3rd century BC, Saturnalia was celebrated at the winter solstice in Rome. Wild and frightening, satyr-like creatures presided over the revelry, which ensued when master and slave roles were reversed by holidaymakers, kind of like the Lord of Misrule taking over a royal court a little later. In the 5th century of the Common Era, Germanic tribes in the Alpine regions of Europe clung to the remnants of old pagan traditions as they began to embrace Christianity. Old Man Winter frequented holiday gatherings, and about 1250 AD, the King's Mirror, a Norwegian manuscript, told of a mean and hairy demon who wandered in the snowy forest at Christmas time. During the winter evenings, the people practiced mummery, the creation of humorous plays, and they would dress up, masking as wild creatures, animals, and mythological figures. An evil force, known by many names through the century, was an important part of this Christmas time amusement. Krampus first paired with the white-robed bishop, St. Nicholas, sometime during the 1600s in a Christmas procession in Nuremberg, Germany. By the late 19th century, Krampus was a regular part of holiday gatherings. Young celebrants, usually young men, would dress up in hideous attire, bearing torches, and carouse through the streets to terrify young and old alike. Postcards from the 1800s can be found featuring Krampus-like images exploding. Their popular comedy is subtle, humorous, and surreal, with a touch of primordial horror. Grupp von Krampus, greetings from Krampus, was often the message in German. In the late 1800s in New York City, St. Nick arrived as a beloved red-suited Santa Claus. Yet Krampus hovered in the background. The evil one appeared as Pelzennickel traditions, celebrated at Christmas time by Dutch and German immigrants in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Indiana. Krampus, the Punisher, continued to reign supreme as a part of European holiday traditions. He especially could be found in Germany and Austria. During the 1930s to 50s, the German and Austrian governments denounced Krampus. He was reviled in pamphlets, and he gradually faded from the scene, but now he's returning. Who is he, if indeed he ever left? Horror novelist Dean Koontz has written Santa's Twin. Krampus greeting cards have become valuable collectibles. His holiday season has come to the movie and The Nightmare Before Christmas and others. So as the solstice nears, consider the consequences of your actions during the past year from the holiday tune that you might hum. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better be good, I'm telling you why, Santa Claus is coming to town. Well, on a lighter note, let's think of Christmas crackers and bonbons. This is a little brighter tale of English magic, everybody. A simple, joyous experience, an event or encounter to stimulate and uplift the heart, mind, and spirit can sometimes open a kind of magical portal in our lives. Usually this happens in an eye blink, a flash, with the mystique and brilliance of a lightning strike. Those fortunate enough to be blessed in this way will experience an immediate and profound change in perception, kind of like a proverbial light bulb going on in the brain. One's life can be completely redirected by one of these serendipitous experiences. We might call it an aha moment. It can come up with an idea or invention which evolves in a way that uplifts the rest of humanity forever. A little understood and curious fact is this is that the magical serendipity frequently involved English travelers and adventurers. Maybe this is because England has for generations been the nation of eccentrics, freethinkers, magicians, and scholars who are attracted to experimenting with all kinds of imaginative studies. Oh, I'll mention Harry Potter now, just for a second. While visiting Paris in the 1840s, an English adventurer named Tom Smith encountered a dining experience, and it inspired him to create a party favor, which has become an essential part of holiday meals in his homeland and other parts of the world ever since. Tom was delighted by sugar-coated almonds twisted and wrapped in beautiful, elaborate tissues. The French called them bonbons, and they were offered to signal the end of the meal, along with dessert. Impressed by this, Tom took the idea home to Clerkenwell in East London and began a business. He started wrapping sugar-coated almonds in pretty papers and added little handwritten love models to these tiny packages. Tom's original sayings have been lost in time, but they had mass appeal. In addressing the inner longings of the heart and spirit, he might have written, "Love, madame or sir, like wine will make you drunk if you don't take care." Or maybe he might have written, "No place on the common earth with ordinary water and air will do where you with true love do not fare." The product became enormously popular, and Tom's sales soared every Christmas time. One cold winter's night, Tom had another aha moment. He tossed a log on the hearth fire, listened to the appealing crackle and pop sounds it made, and this gave him another thought. Adding a bit of drama to the pop tweets would be really interesting. He experimented, and he came up with a simple mechanism that became the signature snap of Christmas crackers or bonbons. Tom renamed them crackers, and his original invention has remained the same. Holiday favors pulled apart ever since. Tom was able to move his family to a more upscale location in London. The demand for his crackers increased. His sons, Tom Jr., Walter, and Henry, inherited and expanded the business. Walter created a drinking fountain in memory of his mother and father. And Walter was the one who had the adventurous spirit. He began to include paper crowns and small candies and toys and other unique gifts. As years have passed, the company honored and embraced the changing times. Crackers were created to commemorate the suffragettes, heroic figures in World War I, Charlie Chaplin, coronations, and various other occasions. Customized Christmas crackers are made every year for British royal families as a tradition that continues to this day. Another very intriguing Christmas tradition is the Eve of the Fairy Queen. This is a radiance on the bleak winter night of December 16th. The annual appearance of the Fairy Queen on different mystical calendars on December 16th has evoked more curiosity than almost every other Christmas tradition. The seasonal Yuletide, Saturnalia stories are rather familiar. Even Krampus is kind of familiar. But numerous requests for an explanation of this holiday have come across my desk. So let's take a look at some information about where the holiday really came from. Fairy Queen Eve is celebrated on many levels as a true passage, indeed linked with the old pre-Christian ways before Christmas became Christmas. The days leading to the winter Saturnalia marked a cycle when the gates to fairyland, the other world, are more accessible to mortals. We can see this again in the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which was a Christmas story in the Arthurian legends. A Celtic tradition exists with a connection to Queen Maeve, who presides over her court, directing the preparation for the cross-quarter days of Yule, with the longest of nights. The date specifically marks the beginning of a 9-day period of grace in early church rituals related to Advent, dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary, Queen of the Universe. A time of different sacred anticipations begins at 4 a.m. on December 16th, and for 9 successive early pre-dawn mornings, there's an enigmatic energy of a pre-dawn service or mass dedicated to the Fairy Queen. Sometimes she's portrayed as a wretched old crone, an elderly fairy. On other occasions, she's radiantly beautiful, otherworldly in her attraction, and she glows with the dew of heaven. Fairy Queen Eve, among the holiest times of joy, is now most familiar in the traditional Catholic cultures of the Philippines and Puerto Rico. December 16th is the start of the Misa de Aguinaldo, a Spanish word meaning a unique holiday gift. In Puerto Rico, the Mass is completely musical and becomes a gift of holiday songs. To call in the Fairy Queen, whether you want to see her as Maeve or Mother Mary, a withered or youthful, obtain a bell, a snow white or silver gilt candle, and during the dark hours of December 16th, ring the bell 9 times and light the candle. Ask for her blessing, be observant, for rather than an old woman or the lovely lady, she will probably appear to you as you would prefer. Most likely it'll be briefly and from a distance, maybe as you wander around a corner during an outing. Before midwinter's day is past, you will glimpse her. And this segment about the Fairy Queen is dedicated to the memory of Nadia, a dear familiar and good friend of a friend of mine who once upon a time was born on a Fairy Queen evening. Well, speaking of the cosmic qualities of Christmas, let's look at how to decorate for holiday decor. Christmas time is related to more extremes of joy and depression than any other time of the year. How to get gifts, how to decorate, whether there's going to be anyone to celebrate with, whether you'd like to avoid the people who've invited you for Christmas. It runs the gamut of emotions. It's a very, very extreme time of year. And let's look a little bit through the signs of the zodiac and astrology as a special guide to Christmas. An old family album preserving cherished memories of holiday seasons surfaced recently for me. Glancing through photos, shadows of Christmas long past, I was struck by how similar all of the trees looked, festooned with icicles of tinfoil, multicolored lights, and blown glass spheres we all thought of as beautiful. During the 1960s, when I was leaving cocoa and cookies out for Santa Claus, holiday decor was rather ubiquitous. From house to house, store to store, they all looked similar. Now, though, there are galaxies of more sophisticated decorations exploding every holiday season. The 21st century holiday scene can almost be overwhelming. It's getting to the point where less is more. Sometimes it's tempting to be Scrooge-like and just let it all go when the annual challenge to holiday decor comes up. No, that won't do. There's a deeper significance to remember. We'll regret it if we don't recognize and honor the winter solstice somehow. The lovely idea of decorating for the winter holidays links to the promise of the return of the sun. It's a reaffirmation of the continuity of life, following the longest of days and the shortest of nights, the shortest of days, longest of nights, the two solstices. The winter solstice, the longest night and shortest day of the year, sparkles with holiday lights and fragrant evergreens, bringing a much-needed optimism, a renewed faith. The decorations, at least subconsciously, bring a promise of the continuity of life and warmth to come. During these times of personal and planetary change, the lift of the spirit that comes with Christmas may be more important than ever. Your horoscope can bring out the brightest and the best for you during the Yuletide season. If you know your basic sun sign, statistics say everyone on the planet does. That's one place to start. If you might know the moon sign, which is emotions, or your rising sign, the physical environment around you, and Venus, your pleasure and art sign, you can look at all of those and to use them as inspiration. Aries, if it is a prominent point in your chart or you just want to bring it out, is always the pioneer and go-getter. Modern, efficient decorations that are easy to put together would be good. How about a fiber optic tree? You just plug it in and it's a fountain of beautiful colors. How about little hot peppers, bright colors, a Latin American holiday theme, pewter or wire ornaments, stained glass ornaments would be good. Also sports symbols. Aries enjoys sports, so the colors of your favorite team would be good to decorate a tree. Taurus, sound and music have a link with Taurus. Holiday bells, small ornaments, a music box playing favorite carols in the background. Surround your tree with a toy train or a ring of cuddly teddy bears. And also handcrafted decorations of vintage lace and fabric scraps would satisfy your taste for economy. Also, strings of popcorn and cranberries are an affordable holiday look. Taurus is always looking for a bargain. And the garlands can be put outdoors for the bird's Christmas tree. Keep a Christmas card list and a special holiday calendar to even your pace out, because you don't like to be rushed. Gemini, variety is your spice of life. When I ask a Gemini what's your favorite color, they invariably say all of them. And multicolor is your secret here to your Christmas tree. Ribbons of stripes, maybe, small toys or trinkets. Words, Gemini relates to communication, so ornaments that have peace, Noel, happy holidays would be good choices. Also, motion-activated things that talk or sing a greeting would be nice. Cancer, traditional, ransack grandma's attic or visit an antique shop and find some heirloom ornaments. How about a Victorian motif to glorify the spirit of a bygone era? A vintage star atop a traditionally decorated pine tree would elevate your mood. A crock pot of apple cider with cloves and cinnamon to add some aromatherapy to permeate the atmosphere and be ready to serve guests. Because you like memories, start a Christmas keepsake scrapbook and add to it year to year with little bits of ribbon, pieces of wrapping paper, gifts, photos, guest lists. And each year look through the Christmases past to renew the holiday spirit. Leo, Christmas cats. The cat who came for Christmas. He was a white cat, Cleveland Amory, immortalized. And ornaments glorifying a friendly house cat, as well as lions and wild felines would be a good choice for your decor. Honor the sun. You're ruled by the sun, so solstice themes would be good. Bayberry candles. Burning bayberry candles at Christmas time through New Year's is a tradition that's supposed to bring wealth and good luck to everyone for the whole year. And I'm not a Leo, I have a Leo moon though, and so I often will have bayberry candles on the Christmas table or give them as gifts. The old legend goes, bayberry candles burn to the socket, bring love, good health, and gold in the pocket. There's a couple different versions, but you get the idea. Leo likes the entertainment world, so clowns, masks, celebrity entertainment would be good. You Virgos are very practical. A healthy and natural holiday motif would be good. How about a fresh potted Christmas tree? Consider poinsettias, red and white carnations, holly and ivy for your holiday decor. And if you can transplant them outside afterwards, so much the better, because as an earth sign, you also like to economize and have decorations that are meaningful. You like cleanliness and purity, so an all-white Christmas decor would be good. A snowman would be a humorous way to subconsciously project this idea. And incorporating snowflake designs into a tree or window design or centerpiece would be good for you. Libra, you're the great romantic of the zodiac. Love, love, love. Brighten your holiday decor with cupids, angels, and hearts. How about an all-pink Christmas tree? Your birthday sign has an affinity for the Oriental art and literature. Chinese or Japanese items, a Zen or yoga look would be good. You're also all about relationships, so how about equal time for Santa and Mrs. Claus and your Christmas centerpiece? Maybe as salt and pepper shakers. That would look nice, Santa and Mrs. Claus. Scorpio, the rebirth and revival theme of Christmas spirits appeal to you. How about an aluminum tree rescued from the 1960s, multicolored strobe lights, peace symbols, the hippie era, and be sure to have lots of chocolate and cookies out in traditional, watching like silent sentries to see if Santa's really there. A string of miniature lighted pumpkins, small cornucopias. The sugar skulls from the Day of the Dead theme can be carried over to Christmas, and also black or midnight blue highlighted with gold would appeal. Sagittarians, you have a deep affection for animals, so a menagerie of horse, dog, cat, or bird ornaments, or one favorite critter would be good as a theme. Wild animals such as bears and raccoons can be added to your Christmas tree. Find a large and fragrant pine tree. Make sure it's anchored to be very, very straight, and add traditional glass gold ornaments in either all blue or mixed jewel tones. If you don't like that, an Old West or cowboy Christmas would appeal to you. Capricorn, your birth sign is linked to the passage of time. How about a 12 Days of Christmas theme? Ornamental clocks would also suit. If you have a grandfather clock, try using it as your Christmas centerpiece. Group greenery and holiday keepsakes around it. Elaborate knots and bows, maybe fashioned from vintage ribbons. Macrame ornaments, handmade paper chains, or small clay miniatures would be very good. You also are attracted to early childhood memories, so think of antique or copies of antique Christmas toys. How about assembling a tabletop or fireplace manteltop village of miniature houses and figurines? Aquarius, you're the nonconformist. You either put your tree up early and leave it up till Easter, or you don't want to have one at all, or ignore Christmas until Christmas in July, because you just have to be different. How about a light and airy look for your tree? Flights of fantasy and imagination. Butterflies, dragonflies, gauze and glitter, unicorns, winged dragons. Also, the flying reindeer would appeal to you. Many Aquarians like Santa Claus himself, maybe because of the benevolent quality. Non-traditional colors and combinations, and again, you're likely to leave them up all year. Pisces, your affinity with the ocean and marine life is an idea for your holiday decor. One of the most beautiful Pisces-themed trees I ever saw was in Mystic, Connecticut many years ago. I'd never seen anything like it. I happened to be visiting there, and it was all seashells and seahorses and also starfish and ribbons and colors in an ocean theme. Dolphins, lighthouses, maybe even SpongeBob collectibles would carry out the undersea theme. Pastel tones like lavender, turquoise, tiny white twinkle lights on a smallish tree would be likely to appeal to you. Also bubble lights, because they suggest the water and the ocean. Pisces is all about the feet and shoes, so shoes, foot, and dance themes, exploring folk or ballet ornaments might be good, and tiny ornamental sandals or boots. Feathers and Christmas tree fairies are other idealistic themes which can be incorporated into the Pisces holiday decor. Happy holiday season, everyone, and I hope you've enjoyed this trip around the zodiac and beyond, and that you meet only St. Nicholas and Santa and not Krampus this and every holiday season.